The morning air, crisp and cool, held a promise of a new day. A promise that felt hollow and cruel to the two souls who sat in the quiet, sunlit kitchen. Mrs. Lynn, a woman of quiet strength and profound devotion, watched her son, a man of power and privilege, his face a map of conflicting emotions. He spoke of paint colors, of design plans, of the intricate details of a house he was building for a woman he deeply adored. "We're missing the darker colors," he said, his voice a low, thoughtful murmur. "The brown, the deep reds, the local people, they love those colors." He was a man of immense wealth, a man who had commanded corporations. But now, his greatest purpose was to build a home, a sanctuary, for the woman he loved. But beneath the surface of his quiet purpose, a storm was brewing. The ghost of his father, a man who had been a stranger to his own son for so long, lingered in the room, an unspoken presence. "Dad's business is doing well," he reported, his voice a professional, detached drone. "He's making a lot of money." The words, though meant to reassure, held a sharp, painful edge. "I wish he would just come back," he confessed, his voice a soft, raw whisper. "I wish he would just come home. We should be a family again." The wish was a desperate, unspoken prayer. A prayer for a past that could not be reclaimed. A prayer for a future that was, at best, a fragile illusion. Mrs. Lynn, a woman who had endured a life of hardship and loneliness, a woman who had raised her son with a quiet, unyielding strength, listened in silence. She saw the pain in his eyes, the deep, agonizing sorrow that he tried so hard to hide. She had been the rock in his storm, the silent, unwavering presence in a life of chaos and uncertainty. She knew the weight of his father's absence, the profound loneliness that had been a constant, chilling presence in their lives. She had hoped that with his return, the past would be vanquished, that a new, brighter future would begin. But the past, a relentless, unforgiving shadow, had clung to them, a constant, chilling presence that she could not escape. The world, which had been a quiet, peaceful sanctuary, was suddenly invaded by a world of numbers, of deadlines, of a relentless, unforgiving reality. A man arrived, a worker on the construction site, his face a map of exhaustion and need. He had come for his wages, a small, tangible piece of a life he was building, a life of simple, honest labor. The transaction was a stark reminder of the world outside, a world of work, of money, of a relentless, unforgiving reality. But the world of work, of money, of a relentless reality, was a world away from the quiet, simple life of the village. The village, a place of peace and tranquility, was a world of slow, rhythmic movement, a world of planting, of harvesting, of a quiet, unyielding grace. The day's work, a rhythm of simple, honest labor, was a silent, peaceful balm to the wounds of the soul. The mother and son, their hands moving with a practiced ease, harvested cucumbers, their bodies a rhythmic symphony of a shared purpose, a shared love. The work was a quiet, peaceful sanctuary, a place where the ghosts of the past could not intrude, a place where a new, brighter future could, perhaps, begin. But the world, a world of ruthless competition and brutal reality, was never far away. The son, a man of quiet determination, found himself in a quiet, isolated forest, a forest of towering, majestic trees, a forest that was, for him, a world of money, of opportunity, of ruthless, unforgiving reality. He was negotiating a deal to buy a hill of pine trees, a deal that would bring him immense wealth, a deal that would, perhaps, buy him the future he so desperately craved. About 5,000 trees, he mused, his voice a low, thoughtful murmur. The owner, a man of simple, honest labor, quoted his price, 700 million dong. The price was a high one, a price that reflected the immense value of the trees, the immense value of the labor that had gone into their planting, their cultivation, their growth. But the son, a man of immense power and ruthless determination, a man who had faced the world with a quiet, unyielding courage, now faced a new kind of challenge, a new kind of pain. He negotiated, his voice a low, persuasive drone, a voice that spoke of the cost of transportation, the difficulty of the journey, the unforgiving reality of the rainy season. 650 million dong. He offered, his voice a low, final, unyielding command. The owner, a man of simple, honest labor, relented, his face a map of quiet defeat. 650 million dong it is. He sighed. The deal was struck. The future, a future of immense wealth, a future of a new, brighter life, was, perhaps, within his grasp. He offered to pay a deposit of 400 million dong, a small, tangible piece of a fortune he was about to make. The harvest, a long, arduous journey, would begin in 2 months, after the unforgiving reality of the rainy season had passed. But the past, a relentless, unforgiving shadow, was never far away. The world, a world of quiet simplicity, was suddenly invaded by a ghost from a past that Diep had almost forgotten. Pao, her ex-husband, a man of quiet sorrow and profound regret, appeared in her life once again. He came with a secret that would shatter her world, a secret that would change her life forever. He came with a truth that was a final, devastating blow to a life she had so desperately tried to rebuild. Your parents, he began, his voice a soft, hesitant murmur. They're not dead, Diep. They're still alive. The words were a brutal, unforgiving pronouncement, a final, devastating blow to a life she had so desperately tried to rebuild. Your uncle, he continued, his voice a soft, apologetic drone. He lied to you. He told you they were dead so that he could keep you. You were an orphan, Diep. You were adopted. The words were a cruel, brutal truth. A truth that was a final, devastating blow to a life she had so desperately tried to rebuild. My family, he confessed, his voice a raw, emotional plea. We kept it from you too. We were afraid you would leave us, that you would go looking for your parents, that you would leave our family. The bus departed, a cloud of exhaust and dust marking its final presence on the quiet, rural road. Yen stood, a solitary figure against the vast, quiet landscape, watching the bus carrying him away shrink into a distant speck. Long's mother stood beside her hand gently clasped around Yen's, a silent testament to their shared sorrow and unspoken anxieties. The vehicle disappeared over the horizon, taking with it a piece of Yen's soul, leaving behind a profound emptiness that resonated through the quiet village. The air, usually alive with the hum of early morning activities, felt heavy, weighted by the finality of his departure. Yen returned to her home, the familiar walls now amplifying the silence. The vibrant market, her usual source of energy and camaraderie, seemed a little dimmer without the anticipation of his evening call. Her hands moved through the familiar tasks of her routine, arranging her stall, tending her garden, preparing meals. But her mind often drifted, constantly reaching across the hundreds of kilometers that now separated them. Her most important task, however, was caring for Long's elderly grandmother. The old woman, frail but with eyes that held the wisdom of decades, became a source of quiet companionship and mutual comfort for Yen. They would sit together in the evenings, sharing stories, drinking warm tea, their shared concern for Long a silent bond that deepened with each passing day. Miles away, in Dongvan Commune, Long's new reality was a stark contrast to the comfortable familiarity of his old life. The medical station was primitive, its resources scarce, its facilities rudimentary. The terrain was rugged, mountainous, and often unforgiving. Patients, many from remote villages, would travel for hours on foot, battling the elements, just to reach the basic medical care he could provide. His days were long, exhausting, often stretching into the late hours of the night. He faced a constant battle against bureaucracy, against the lack of funding, against the sheer isolation of his new post. It's harder than I thought, Yen, he confessed during one of their nightly calls, his usual stoicism giving way to a rare vulnerability. The bureaucracy, the lack of funding, the sheer isolation. Sometimes I feel like I'm fighting a losing battle. Yen listened, her heart aching for him, but also filled with immense pride. He was truly a hero, bringing healing and hope to a community desperately in need. Her words were a balm, a surge of encouragement that transcended the hundreds of kilometers separating them. So long, you're doing amazing work. You're saving lives. Don't give up. Think of the people you're helping. Think of our future. I'm here, waiting for you. Your grandmother is here waiting for you. We believe in you. Just keep fighting. Her unwavering faith in him was a powerful anchor, grounding him amidst the swirling currents of his new, challenging reality. He took a deep breath. Thank you, Yen. I needed to hear that. You always know what to say. His voice was softer now, filled with renewed resolve. I'm making progress slowly. We've managed to get some basic supplies, and I've established a good rapport with the local community. They're good people, Yen. Very resilient, just like you. His comparison, simple yet profound, filled her with warmth, a silent acknowledgement of their shared spirit. Long's mother, true to her promise, was a constant, loving presence in Yen's life. She visited frequently, bringing home-cooked meals, sharing stories from her own day, and offering unwavering encouragement. You don't have to worry about Tu Yen and the baby, my son. She had promised Long during their farewell. I will be here. I will visit her often, help her, encourage her. I will take care of them both. You can work far away, feeling secure, knowing that your mother always cares for and loves Tu Yen and your child. Her words were a solemn vow, a promise to bridge the distance with her unwavering support, a living testament to the enduring strength of family love. She would often bring Yen fresh produce from her own garden, small tokens of affection that spoke volumes. They would sit together, tending the garden, sharing the simple joys of everyday life, their conversations often drifting to Long, their shared hope a silent bond between them. The challenges were numerous, both for Long in his remote medical station and for Yen managing her farm and family life alone. There were days when Yen felt overwhelmed, when the loneliness threatened to consume her. She missed Long's gentle touch, his reassuring smile, the simple comfort of his physical presence. She missed their shared meals, their quiet conversations under the stars, the feeling of his hand in hers. But then, she would remember his promise, his unwavering determination to build a future for them. That promise, like a guiding star, pulled her through the darkest moments. She would look at the umbrella trees, growing steadily, their branches laden with fruit, a symbol of growth and resilience, reminding her that patience and hard work would eventually yield their sweet results. Long, too, faced moments of profound isolation and doubt. The long hours, the often overwhelming nature of his work in a place with limited resources, tested his spirit. He missed Yen's quiet strength, her practical wisdom, the simple joy of their shared life. He missed his mother's comforting presence, but he remembered his promise, the image of Yen's hopeful face, the tiny life growing within her, driving him forward. He poured his energy into his work, establishing new protocols at the medical station, training local volunteers, and expanding their reach to even more remote villages. He found deep satisfaction in knowing he was making a tangible difference, that his efforts were bringing health and healing to a community that had long been underserved. This sense of purpose, coupled with the unwavering support from Yen and his mother, sustained him. Their love, like a hardy plant, was not only surviving the distance, but was taking root even deeper, growing stronger with each challenge, each moment of longing. The separation, rather than breaking them, was forging a bond of resilience and profound understanding. They learned to rely on communication, on shared dreams, and on the unwavering belief in their future together. Long often thought of his father, who was due to return from his own business trip soon. He imagined the conversations he would have with his father, of sharing his experiences, his growth, and his deepened understanding of what truly mattered in life. He knew that his father would see the maturity and strength he had gained, not just professionally, but as a man. One evening, during their nightly call, Long's voice held a note of renewed optimism. Yen, I've made significant progress here. The station is running smoothly, and I've trained a good team. I think I can start making arrangements soon. His words were a balm to Yen's anxious heart. I've even found a small plot of land near the station, quiet, but close to a good school. I'm thinking of building a small house there. For us, Yen's heart swelled with joy, a rush of warmth spreading through her. The promise, once a distant beacon, was now a tangible possibility. "Oh, Long, that's wonderful news. I've been waiting for this. I know, my love," he replied, his voice filled with tenderness. "And I'm so grateful for your patience, for your strength, for taking care of Mother. She speaks so highly of you, Yen. She says you're the best thing that ever happened to us." Yen smiled, a solitary tear escaping her eye. A tear of profound happiness. His mother's words, conveyed through Long, were a precious gift, a testament to her acceptance and affection. The moon, a silent witness, cast its silvery glow over her small village, connecting her to him, a luminous thread across the miles. She knew that the road ahead, while still holding its own challenges, would be one they faced together, united by a love that had grown stronger, deeper, and more resilient in the face of adversity. Their future, a tapestry woven with shared dreams and enduring love, was finally beginning to unfold. The truth, a raw, unforgiving pronouncement, was a final devastating blow to a life she had so desperately tried to rebuild. She listened in silence, her face a mask of shock and disbelief. The tears, a silent rhythmic stream, flowed down her cheeks. A quiet, eloquent testament to a life of sorrow, a life of deceit, a life of profound, agonizing pain. "Why?" she whispered, her voice a raw, emotional plea. "Why did they abandon me? For over 20 years, they were gone. I had to live this difficult life, this lonely, agonizing life. Why?" The words were a final, desperate plea, a plea for a truth that she could not comprehend, a plea for a love she had never known, a plea for a past that could never be reclaimed. Pao, a man of quiet sorrow and profound regret, stood in silence, his face a mask of quiet defeat. "It's true, Diep," he whispered, his voice a soft, raw plea. Go to your uncle. Ask him. He'll tell you the truth." But the truth, a raw, unforgiving pronouncement, was a final, devastating blow to a life she had so desperately tried to rebuild. "No," she whispered, her voice a raw, emotional plea. "They are dead to me. They were dead to me over 20 years ago. Even if they're alive, they're dead to me." The words were a final, poignant act of defiance, a final, unyielding declaration of a life that she had, in the face of so much sorrow, finally reclaimed. A life that was hers, and hers alone.